Replacements for incapacity benefit working. In a BBC Radio Scotland investigation, we hear claims that seriously ill people are being declared fit for work. So is employment support allowance making it harder to get the benefits you're entitled to?
Call Morning Extra 0500 92 95 00.
Good morning. Now, we all know that the welfare state is supposed to be there for us when we're ill and unable to take care of ourselves. We pay our taxes and national insurance during our working lives, and if we're unlucky enough to fall ill, we expect the government to be there to help us. But we've been hearing stories of people who have serious illnesses, mental health problems, Parkinson's, even cancer, and they're being told they're fit for work and aren't eligible for benefits. It's all part of a new system called Employment Support Allowance, which is taking over from incapacity benefit. Now, it's supposed to help the very sick and enable those who are ill to get back into the workplace as soon as they're able. But is it working? If you've any experience of applying for this benefit, successfully or otherwise, give me a call this morning. Let's hear your stories. 0500 92 95 00. That's 0500 92 95 00. You can also text on 80295 and the email address is morningextra@bbc.co.uk. But is employment support allowance working? 0500 92 95 00. But first, Fiona Walker hears the stories of people who feel the welfare state has let them down.
Welfare is in a bit of a state. We have an unhealthy 5 million people on benefits because they're not working. It costs the economy £100 billion a year. That may be why we've been labelled a nation of scroungers.
This new benefit treats people as individuals. It looks to see what people can do, not what they can't. With 1 million people off incapacity benefit by 2015.
So the government wants to get people back to work. But in doing so, are they victimising the most vulnerable?
I can't stand on my feet for any longer than about 30 seconds.
Every waking moment I have is sore. I'm just in pain constantly.
I suffered hallucinations. I have sleep deprivation because of the tablets I'm on.
I might not be able to do those things that constitute life, really.
The name of the new system is Employment Support Allowance, and it's taking over from incapacity benefit. The principles behind Employment Support Allowance, or ESA, are that work is good for you, and those who can work should get help to get back to work. These ideas are supported by all the main political parties, and everyone who's contributed to this programme. So why are some people so unhappy about it now it's become a reality?
It seems to be a very blunt instrument.
I'm a bit baffled.
I think it's a scandalous disregard for the responsibilities of government.
During our investigation, we've been told about dying patients dispatched to interviews to get them back to work. We hear claims the medical assessments are biased to ensure fewer people get benefits. The private company doing the medicals is accused of putting profits first. And the government can't tell us how many people they've got back to work, the very reason ESA was brought in the first place. All this comes as no surprise to Maureen Leach.
I work full-time for one of the local councils. I've never had to claim any benefits. I've always worked.
Maureen was diagnosed with vulval cancer. She had surgery and then needed radiotherapy and chemotherapy. Weeks after her last course of treatment, she was told she had to attend the job centre.
I got a letter to say, come down, we want to interview you with regards to pathways to work. I had just finished my treatment in November. She apologised and said, I'm really sorry you've been asked to come down, but everybody has got to go through the process.
So when you went to the assessment,
yes,
how did they treat you there?
The gentleman sat behind the desk with a computer on, tapping the keys of the keyboard and his face on the screen throughout the medical, apart from when he asked me to stand up and he asked me to bend down to pick something off the floor, which at that point I wasn't able to do because I had pains in my hip and the chemotherapy has damaged my fingertips. I got the report from ATOS, and to be quite honest, when I opened it up and started to read it, I thought it was a report for somebody else had sent out. All the answers I had given had been turned around One of the examples was, you know, I said I was having difficulties toileting, and there was no problems in the toileting area, no incontinence problems. He also stated that my illness was mild cancer. I was struggling terribly with the whole cancer. I was in extreme pain. It was 24 hours trying to look after myself, trying to make things easier for myself.
The way you grew up, how did you feel about the welfare state in Britain? Was it something you were proud of and something that
Well, yes, it was there, and it was there to help people, and I thought it would be a clean cut dry. She's entitled to it for X amount of time till I went back to my work, and it wasn't that. It was a whole load of hassle and aggravation that I didn't need at the time I was going through the journey of the cancer. I feel insulted and badly let down with the system.
When we met Cheryl Brown, she struggled to get off the sofa to greet us. She had been through her medical. In fact, the assessor came to her house because her GP testified she couldn't physically get to the assessment centre.
I find it difficult even to get around the house, even on a good day. I can generally get up and down stairs, sometimes with help. Sometimes I need my husband and my son either side of me to help me. I felt that if I admitted to doing nothing at all, I was going to come across as lazy.
During the assessment, she says she told the doctor she occasionally buys supplements online recommended by her GP.
When I read the report, she'd said that I shop regularly online and that I regularly play word games online. I come across as somebody who is perfectly capable, but would rather waste time shopping and playing games.
So who are the people making these decisions? Ultimately, it's the government, but they employ a private healthcare company called Atos to do the medical assessments using a computer program. If you pass, you're awarded ESA. That means you get paid the benefit and get the support to return to work if that's suitable. I've spoken to 2 doctors who used to work for Atos. They've now left the company. They both say they are worried that speaking out will jeopardise their medical careers. So an actor is voicing the concerns of one of the doctors, and the second doctor backs up the thoughts of the first.
The company is very performance-driven. It was a foul working environment. We were told to refer to the patients not as patients, but clients. We were expected to see at least 10 a day, and there was a strong impetus to get them in and out. Some, but not all doctors were paid by the client, regardless of whether they took 16 minutes or 40 minutes. I saw some of the reports and, well, you could tell they'd been done quickly. We were asked not to think about the outcomes of the assessment, but just to tick the boxes.
Some patients say that sounds familiar.
I wish it had been more responsive to what I was actually saying, rather than trying to fit my responses into a box.
He hardly said a word to me. I mean, it lasted barely 5 minutes.
We were also told that the government's computer programme, which Atos use, wasn't giving a fair result. It was designed to support the doctors and nurses to make their decision. But we've been told it was biased towards doctors finding them fit for work, which means no ESA benefit.
We would frequently have appraisals. They were all about how many clients you had seen, the average length of time it took to complete each assessment and write the reports. I wanted to know if they were happy with the quality of the reports I'd done, but they hadn't even looked at any of my reports, only the time it had taken. It's really tough to qualify for ESA, but when doctors go in for the day's assessments, they pretty much know the clients are going to be turned down.
Atos Healthcare declined to be interviewed in response to these claims, but sent us this statement.
Atos Healthcare provides independent, impartial medical advice to the Department for Work and Pensions so that the DWP's decision makers can make informed decisions about applications for benefit. Atos Healthcare is continually monitored and audited by the government to ensure that it completes the highest standard of assessments and that medical advice is correct. Atos Healthcare and its employees are not advised of the result of the assessments, and the outcome has no bearing on Atos Healthcare targets or remuneration.
The picture the 2 former Atos doctors describe is not what Dr. Chris Johnston envisaged when he helped to shape the ESA way of thinking. He's a GP in Paisley and, like the government, would like to see more people come off benefit and go back to work. He pioneered the back